Imagine you're 24 years old. You've spent your entire adult life in the middle of nowhere, a frozen border province, where the only thing between you and nomadic raiders is a crumbling wall and luck. You have no powerful friends, no army. Your mother was not a wife, she was a concubine, so low in status that she was barely above a servant. Nobody in the capital even remembers your name, and then one day, a messenger arrives. The most powerful men in the empire have just massacred the ruling family. They need a new emperor, and they've chosen you. Not because you're strong, because you're weak. That is the story of Liu Heng, known to history as Emperor Wen of Han, and what he did next should have been impossible. The year is 180 BC. The Han Dynasty is 22 years old. While the Roman Republic expands across the Mediterranean, a peasant-born dynasty rules China, but barely. Its founding emperor, Liu Bang, is dead. His widow, Empress Liu, has just died after 15 years of brutal rule. The empire is teetering on the edge of collapse. Let's set the stage. In the West, a dynasty is just a royal family, the Tudors, the Bourbons. In China, a dynasty was the entire governing order. When a dynasty fell, everything collapsed with it. The laws, the currency, the administrative system, the army's chain of command. The Han was only 22 years old. It hadn't yet proven it could survive. Now, the map. Chang'an, the capital, a city of 250,000 people, one of the largest on earth at that time, sat in the Wei River Valley in what is now central China. 500 miles to the north, on the frozen edge of the empire, lay a tiny border province called Dai, where the Great Wall met the steppe. That's where our story begins. Let's understand the political structure. The emperor sat at the top, ruling the entire empire. Below him, kings, his own relatives, brothers and nephews, ruled vassal kingdoms that were supposed to obey the throne. Think of it like medieval Europe, but with one crucial difference. In China, the emperor was the son of heaven. The kings were his subjects, not his equals. When a kingdom stopped obeying, empire-wide war was the result. Han China was a patchwork of semi-independent kingdoms, held together by a central court in Chang'an. The dynasty was founded by a peasant rebel named Liu Bang. Imagine a mix of Julius Caesar and Robin Hood, who overthrew the Qin dynasty and spent his life conquering rivals. When he died, real power fell to his wife, Empress Liu. For 15 years, Empress Liu ruled as the de facto emperor. She promoted her own family, the Liu clan, into every top military and political position. She murdered her rivals' sons. She turned the Liu family into figureheads, and then, in 180 BC, she died. What happened next was a bloodbath. The old generals, the men who had fought alongside Liu Bang to build the empire, rose up and slaughtered every member of the Liu clan. Men, women, children. They even killed the young boy emperor the Liu family had put on the throne, claiming he was not really a Liu. Now they needed a new emperor, a real Liu, someone legitimate, someone controllable. They had options. The obvious choice was Liu Xiang, the king of Qi, Liu Bang's eldest grandson, who had already marched his army to the capital's doorstep. But the generals looked at Liu Xiang's uncle, a fierce man named Xijun, and saw another Empress Dowager situation in the making. If Liu Xiang became emperor, his mother's family would become the new Liu clan. So they passed. They considered Liu Chang, the king of Huainan, Liu Bang's youngest son, raised by Empress Liu herself. Too wild, too much Liu influence. And then someone remembered. There is a fourth son, Liu Heng, the king of Dai. He has been sitting on a frozen border for 15 years. His mother is a nobody, a former concubine, so insignificant that Empress Liu never bothered to harm her. He has no power base, no army, no friends in the capital. He is perfect. The messengers found Liu Heng in his drafty palace in Dai, modern-day northern Shanxi province, where the Great Wall meets the steppe. When they told him he was being invited to become emperor, he did not celebrate. He was terrified. He called his advisors. His chief of staff, Zhang Wu, said, "Do not go. These men are all hardened generals who served your father. They just murdered an entire family. This is a trap, but his security advisor, Song Chang, saw it differently. The empire belongs to the Liu family. You are the eldest surviving son of the founder. The people will accept you. The generals need you to legitimize their coup. If you refuse, you look weak, and they will find someone else. Liu Heng still was not sure. He consulted his mother, Lady Bo, a woman so cautious she had survived 15 years of Empress Liu's reign by being completely invisible. They sent his uncle to Chang'an to verify the offer was genuine. They had fortune tellers burn tortoise shells and read the cracks. Only when every possible precaution was exhausted did Liu Heng set out. He brought 6 men. Not 600. Not 6,000. 6. Song Qiang, Zhang Wu, and 4 attendants. No army. No display of force. He knew that in a city that had just witnessed a coup, any show of military strength would be seen as a threat. He had to look harmless. The procession reached the Wei Bridge, just outside Chang'an. The entire court was waiting, the generals, the ministers, the surviving members of the Liu clan. Among them stood Zhou Bo, the Grand Commandant, the man who had personally led the massacre of the Liu family. He was, at that moment, the most powerful man in the empire. Zhou Bo stepped forward and spoke quietly to Liu Heng. May I have a word in private? This was the moment. Zhou Bo wanted to hand over the imperial seal in a private meeting, to create a personal debt. If Liu Heng accepted the seal privately, he would owe his throne to Zhou Bo personally. Every decision he made would be shadowed by that obligation. But before Liu Heng could respond, Song Chang stepped forward and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. If what you have to say is a matter of public business, speak it publicly. If it is a private matter, the king has no private affairs. The king has no private affairs. Wang zhe wu si. This was an ancient political principle, but Song Chang weaponized it in real time. He was telling Zhou Bo, and every other general watching, that this new emperor would not be owned. There would be no backroom deals, no whispered bargains. Zhou Bo had no choice. He knelt in front of the entire assembly and presented the imperial seal publicly as a formal procedure. What could have been a private transaction became a public ritual. Liu Heng did not even take it right there. He said they would discuss it further at his temporary residence in the city. He was buying time and making it absolutely clear that he was not a man in a hurry to grab power. When they reached the Dai residence, the ministers formally petitioned him to take the throne. Liu Heng refused. They petitioned again. He refused again. He went through this 5 times, refusing west toward the imperial ancestors, refusing south toward the court. Only when every senior figure, the Liu clan elders, the generals, the marquises, had all publicly declared their support, did he finally accept. He was not being polite. He was redefining the source of his legitimacy. He would not be emperor because Zhou Bo chose him. He would be emperor because the entire political establishment, clan, military, aristocracy, had collectively affirmed him. And then, on his very first night in the Weiyang Palace, Liu Heng made his real move. He appointed Song Chang as general of the guards, giving him command of the northern and southern armies, the 2 military forces that controlled the capital. He appointed Zhang Wu as superintendent of the palace, placing palace security in the hands of his own man. Just like that, before the generals had finished congratulating themselves on picking a weakling, the capital's entire military apparatus had changed hands. 6 men from the provinces had taken control of the empire's center. The next day, Liu Heng did something equally cunning. He handed out promotions and rewards to all the coup leaders. Zhou Bo became Right Chancellor, the highest civil post. Chen Ping became Left Chancellor. Guan Ying became Grand Commandant. Everyone received gold. Everyone received titles. Everyone received the respect they felt they deserved. But those rewards came from the emperor. They were public salaries, distributed through official channels. They were not personal favors. Liu Heng was making it unmistakably clear. I reward you because you are my officials, not because I owe you. The debt is 0. Here is what Liu Heng understood that most people in power never learn. When you are the weakest person in the room, transparency is your weapon. If he had accepted Zhou Bo's private offer, he would have been a puppet. By forcing everything into the open, he transformed a personal debt into a public procedure. He did not win because he was strong. He won because he refused to play the game of private power. This principle, that legitimacy comes from public process, not private deals, would define everything Liu Heng did for the next 23 years. And the generals who thought they had picked a puppet were about to discover just how badly they had miscalculated. Next time on The Emperor Who Waited, Liu Heng has taken the throne, but the men who put him there still believe they can control him. One man in particular, Zhou Bo, the general who crushed the Liu clan, thinks he is untouchable. He is about to learn that the new emperor has a very long memory, a very quiet voice, and a masterful understanding of how to destroy a man without ever touching him. The emperor will ask two simple questions in court, and Zhou Bo will never recover.